They were like, we want you on the team. And he said, okay.
Most of this part of Toronto kind of started off with little workers' cottages, and these 16-foot lots are definitely a unique thing. There aren't a lot more of these spaces that have that, but I think they will become, especially when you have houses that have maybe a parking lot, like a garage with a few cars that can park, which you will see kind of around there. I mean, we can kind of see it right across. That space isn't what I'm working with, but it's not a stretch to say that there are other places that don't have those kind of constrictions. And I think that will happen a lot more here, where spaces where normally you would have a garage and cars are being converted into skinny houses like this.
So here you found this spot, and what was it?
It was just empty. It was just grass. Just before it, there used to be a small kind of a worker's cottage. Most of this part of Toronto kind of started off with little workers' cottages. We're a huge district of distilleries, manufacturing, building came to this area. So this is like a little cottage. These buildings were made for a very lower middle class families that moved here. They didn't have a lot of money, and they built only what they could. And really only what they needed, which would normally be maybe one bedroom, a little kitchen, and a bathroom. He's had it in his family for a very long time, and it's a wonderful little cottage, but as you can see, it needs a lot of retrofitting. And in this case, if you were to tear it down, you'd have to build a new house right in its spot, exactly where it was. This is actually a very challenging position that a lot of people get into, which is once one of these workers' cottages gets to a point where they can't be retrofitted or rebuilt, they have to be raised to the ground. And when the space is so small and there's no access from behind, you have to do everything from these very carefully through the front. There isn't much that you can do, which is why we came to this. It was a really big challenge. With the cost of land here and with the cost of housing here, you can only really build big with multiple bedrooms, multiple bathrooms. So in a space this small, it's really tough. And we have a lot of rules that say that once a building has been built, it has to have a certain amount of space that is green space. You can't just build right to the edges of everything. There has to be some green space, and usually it's about 50%. In my case, because the workers' cottage was back there, I had to build it back there, which is an odd thing. Everybody said, why don't you just build it here and then have a backyard like everybody else does? But I actually can't. When the workers' cottage was built there, that's how it's zoned, and that's how it stays. So my front yard is my backyard. So I had to kind of make it look like something that is a nice, quiet, comfortable space, separate from the city where I can kind of barbecue and cook and everything here, but at the same time have the building built where it is. The spot kind of found us. It was this space that had been sitting here for, I think, since the original place got torn down, which I think was in 2011. So by the time we got it in 2016, I mean, it had been sitting there for 5 years. Very few people thought of it as an opportunity that can actually do this or pull it off. It'd be kind of tough. You can't get cranes in here, right? You can't just get a big crane to come in here and start moving all these heavy pieces around. You have to kind of do it creatively and slowly, and mostly with manpower. We only had a little boom. We had this little thing on wheels that would just kind of lift up some stuff for us, but those things have really strict weight limitations. So it was only there to kind of help us reach something that we couldn't reach, just help us with height. But a lot of the getting materials up here, for example, you can't just have a crane come in here and drop this stuff for you, all the plumbing and the wood and all the drywall and everything. So a lot of that stuff had to do with making a little elevator where we ran a winch that came down, and we would run upstairs, turn it on, bring the stuff up, bring it in, then drop it down again, run back downstairs, tie all the stuff together, tie it up again, come back and do that. We did that for days to get materials up. So a lot of people, I think, can see that that's what's necessary, but don't really want to do that because it requires a level of kind of involvement that people, I think, don't want to do when they're building these big buildings. They want it to be easy and logistically quick. The whole lot is 16 feet wide. That's the land that we got. We allowed to build all the way to the outside about 14 feet, so that inside you get about 11 feet with the thickness of the walls and everything. It's not the thinnest in Toronto, but it's close. We did a lot of really interesting stuff with the walls to make them as thin as possible and soundproof and everything to be able to do that. So one of the things that we had to do was cantilever some of it. One of the big challenges was because there's a tree nearby, we protect trees, we have a tree protection zone, and one of the things is you can't have anything that will sit on its roots. So this building had to be cantilevered and hung to be able to use all of the available sky space, but not do anything to the roots. So you get a lot more depth without touching the bottom at all, which also is really nice because for a city that has almost no parking anywhere, you get a little parking pad. Because of the bylaws around when you're so close to other neighbors, you can't have windows in certain areas that face your neighbor. So this house has no windows on its side and lots of windows on front and back. The windows are large, but it still gives you a problem of letting light pass through to each level. So we use this system here where it's just individual stairs. They're hardwood stairs which connect to metal stringers. They allow a lot of light through. They're very solid. So this is the living and the bedroom area. We have a little deck here that comes out. Almost every level, they're identical with just the staircase going through the middle. Every room is roughly the same space. It's about 11 by 11 feet. So when this became the kitchen, it just is the kitchen. There's no dividing it up or doing anything else. So there is a lot of space for putting in like an island or some sort of dining area. But we got this fantastic huge kitchen out of it. And we try to get as much light in it. I think it's kind of fun for entertaining, I think. This being the first floor, which feels weird because we're kind of above everything, this is the second floor, and it's the floor with the bedrooms. And you get a nice view of everybody's kind of backyards and seeing what this kind of neighborhood's like. It's a nice, quiet place. Yeah, there's a cool thing because this tree is close enough to that one and that one's close enough to that one. I think the squirrels have like a full free range around here. It's like a Ewok village. And then little closets and stuff. So we originally was supposed to be an elevator, but the smaller you go for elevators, the less reliable they get, and we kind of stopped that idea. But we got amazing closets out of it. I managed to put in a small closet here and a linen closet. And then over here you get like the bathroom area and the other bedroom, which is also maybe like I designed it kind of like as an office. So it has internet right in the walls. This is probably the best view from this angle because the bathroom upstairs doesn't have a window. So we can only get 4. But here you get kind of some idea of like the east side of Toronto. But as you can see, like the height, it's tough because some of the questions that I get all the time is like, you know, you built this too tall sometimes. And my best is always to bring people up here and show them that that house is 12 meters exactly the same. It's the exact same height. In fact, there's a few, give or take like a meter, 40 feet.
Because it's so thin, it probably feels taller.
That's it. I think it's a perspective thing. It's like your eyes play tricks on you. When you see these two little places and you're across the street and you see this thing, it looks monolithic, and I totally get that. The big windows and stuff, it's really great to open up. Working in here was fantastic. And so with some of the leftover space in the ceiling, we put in a skylight in here. One of the things that this building was supposed to have but didn't is a green roof. With a green roof, it needs to have a parapet all the way around, like a railing, to keep all the plants from possibly blowing off. And they didn't let us because we had already hit our maximum of 12 meters.
Is there a certain number of windows you can have, or each floor has certain, or how did it?
There is a certain amount of windows. And so here, the last one, that's why this floor just gets its kind of complete privacy, which is what I really wanted. You get this really nice full-size bathroom with its own washer and dryer.
And you couldn't put a window here already?
No.
So.
No, that's right. They couldn't they didn't allow us, so then we had to just work with everything. So here we get like the master bedroom and bathroom.
Is this possibly even greener than one?
I think so, yeah, exactly. No, here right up basically at this roof here is 12 meters, so 40 feet.
It's just sort of fun to be up in the different parts of the tree.
Yeah, I think it was here, but I'm not sure if it's there anymore, but there was a nest. No, maybe not anymore, or if it's been overgrown with leaves,
Right.
but we have lots of wildlife here constantly nesting. A lot of people that come and visit, you see it from the outside, and it's a wonder that maybe they think that you could fit 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms in there, but they must be really, really small. But really, you can do a lot with 10 feet. One of the things that's happening soon is that because we have behind us a laneway, we've recently passed some rules where if you don't want your backyard, or maybe has a garage, but you don't have a car because you live so close to downtown, they want to start selling the places behind. And in those places, obviously, you can see that my house would fit almost exactly on the backyard of this house. So it can be done, it can be replicated.